Welcome to the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, also known as ODE CNP's, training on the Summer Food Service Program Basics Monitoring. This training will discuss the SFSP sponsor's requirement to monitor sites serving meals to children. The SFSP monitoring requirements are the same for all SFSP sponsors, regardless of whether they operate a single site or multiple sites. Objectives covered in this presentation include monitoring requirements, monitoring reports, and reviewing monitoring reports. What is meant when we refer to monitoring? The site monitor serves as the direct link between the sponsor's main office and the actual food service sites. Monitors must ensure that the site operates the program according to program guidelines. Monitors must understand program requirements, including civil rights requirements, be able to train site staff when necessary, and spend enough time at each site to ensure proper program operations. The monitor should also have a supply of all necessary forms. Adequate monitoring practices can reduce the likelihood that the sponsor will have findings during an administrative review. Establishing an effective monitoring system will help prevent problems from occurring, will make it easier to correct any problems that arise during the summer. The size of the monitoring staff will, of course, depend on the size of the sponsor's program. For further information, please review the training, Summer Food Service Program Basics Staffing. The sponsor must ensure that the authority and responsibilities of its monitors are clear to the monitoring staff, the site supervisors, and the administrative personnel. Sponsors must ensure that all following minimum monitoring requirements are met. Pre-operational visits. Sponsors must visit all new and problem sites before they begin operations. These visits are required to make sure that sites have facilities to provide meal services for the number of children expected to attend. Site visits. Generally, sponsors are required to visit all sites at least once within the first 2 weeks of operation. However, this site visit requirement may be waived for returning sites that operated successfully during the previous summer or other most recent period of operation and had no serious deficiency findings. Finally, site reviews. Sponsors must review all sites at least once during the first 4 weeks of program operations. After this initial period, sponsors must conduct a reasonable level of monitoring. If a site operates less than 4 weeks, the sponsor is still required to conduct a review. Also, monitoring must continue throughout the duration of the program at a level sufficient to ensure that the sites comply with program regulations. When monitors observe program operations at sites, they will make either a visit or a review. A site visit requires the monitor to ensure that the food service is operating smoothly and that any apparent problems are immediately resolved. For a visit, a monitor does not need to be present during the entire meal service. A site visit is typically done during the first 2 weeks of operation. These site visits must not be confused with the pre-operational visit. A pre-operational visit is conducted before the site begins food service operations. Pre-operational visits must be conducted for both new sites and sites that had problems during the previous year. A site review requires the monitor to determine if the site is meeting all the various program requirements. To accomplish this, the monitor will have to observe a complete meal service from beginning to end. A review requires a monitor to be present before, during, and after the meal service to observe all aspects of the site's operations. This includes delivery or preparation of meals, the meal service, and cleanup after the meals. Here are a few examples of common issues or problems that you may see on a site visit or monitoring report. The meals are being served do not meet the meal patterns requirements. Site staff is not taking the meal count properly. Meals are being served outside of the approved meal times as listed in CNP Web. The And Justice for All poster is missing. And finally, there are errors in meal count reconciliation. If any issues are found at the sites, prompt action must be taken to correct the issues. Monitors must follow up on problems found in previous reviews and inspections by the health department. All problems and actions taken to correct the problems must be documented. All pre-operational visits, site visits, and reviews must be documented. Next, we will review the forms that must be used to document visits and reviews. A pre-operational visit form, first 2-week visit form, and sample site review form are all located on the ODE CNP SFSP webpage under Program Templates and Forms in Monitoring. Records of pre-operational visits, site visits, and reviews will help sponsors assess the operation of sites. Each form shown on the previous slide have a place to document problems and corrective actions to be taken. As food is only nutritious if it is eaten, records are only useful when they are carefully reviewed by the sponsor personnel and when follow-up monitoring is scheduled to ensure that any corrective actions have been taken to improve site operations. Each sponsor must therefore design and implement a process for handling monitoring reports. At the very least, sponsors must include in their process how and when monitors will return forms, when and who is responsible for reviewing the forms for completeness and issues, and action steps if problems were documented at the site. The pre-operational visit, site visit, and site review reports must be immediately reviewed by a specific member of the sponsor's staff other than the monitor. The sponsor's staff is responsible for following up on any issues as well. The responsible staff member should review any issues found by the monitor, contact the site supervisor if necessary, document corrective action taken at the site, schedule a follow-up review if necessary, and sign and date the report. The sponsor staff must base the timing of a follow-up review on the severity of the problem. In summary, this session covered what monitoring is, the sponsor's monitoring requirements, types of monitoring site reviews and visits, and reporting and follow-up of site visits or reviews. Sponsors must be sure that monitors schedule visits and reviews so that they can meet the program requirements. A good monitoring schedule and an efficient system for the review and follow-up of the monitor's reports are necessary for effective program operations. Chapter 8 of the Administration Guide for the SFSP contains more information on this topic. A link to this guide is provided in the video description. If you have any additional questions that were not addressed today, please reach out to your assigned child nutrition specialist. Here's a short message from the Oregon Department of Education. ODE supports equity and excellence for every learner and seeks to work with school districts, education service districts, and community partners like you. We believe all children should have access to high-quality, well-rounded learning experiences. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Thank you for taking this training. We hope you found it helpful.